Hello, and welcome back. Northstar here with another Hearts Iron 4. Got the Darwin single player Let's Play United States Democratic Socialist run. Um, Fighting the Neo Confederates that risen up because of a combination of plans to eventually desegregate the South, Union Representation Act, and move towards socialism. I mean, this is after the first Red Scare, as I said. So, I mean, which historically occurred after World War One because of Wilson. By the way, Wilson, utter piece of garbage. Um, he was suspected of being a secret member of the Ku Klux Klan, to give you some idea of his moral character. Bigot, imperialist, who played a big role in U.S. Increasingly becoming imperialistic in the Philippines, in the East Indies. Um, its policy. Obviously, the Philippines at this time was controlled by the United States, but you should read some of his speeches about the East Indies. He was talked about forcing open ports to trade and invading countries if necessary to force them to reduce tariffs. He was a piece of shit. Um, and yeah, I guess both the presidents who did Red Scares were. Truman was also a garbage human being, also bigot, and despite being forced into situations where partly due to FDR's legacy and partly due to the GOP outmaneuvering him, he ended up, um, him and then Eisenhower moving things along in terms of racial relations, but both terrible human beings. Truman was not the guy that FDR wanted as his successor. His vice president from 40 to 44, who was actually basically he never openly identified. There's every reason to think he was a Marxist and a democratic socialist secretly. Just couldn't openly say it at the time. Uh, that was the guy that FDR wanted as successor. Um, he would not have been able to do democratic socialist policies without like enough support, but he would have at least been friendly with the Soviet Union and avoid a Cold War, which killed immense numbers of people because there is a not only were there the proxy wars, but there is a think of as a there's a peace dividend if you're not investing hugely in the military. You can invest in poverty reduction, infrastructure, economic development in your own country and around the world. Uh, Cold War very much got the U.S. in the path of permanent, enormous military spending, which the U.S. has reaped no peace dividends since the end of the Cold War because it has continued to spend through the roof. Essentially, the U.S. is still in a war economy to this day. Um, but people die when their economies aren't developed enough, especially in the third world. So, if the U.S. had less military spending, then it would have had less need to exploit the third world in order to maintain adequate budget. Instead, just could have had taxes lower because of the lack of military spending, and then it would have been less pressure for the unequal exchange with the third world and stuff. So even under capitalism, people died because of the Cold War, and of course, it precluded the U.S. possibly, considering socialism seriously and getting over the history of the first Red Scare and implementing policies that could have saved a lot of lives. A lot of people died of lack of healthcare every year in the U.S. because it's a very unequal, very in some areas very underdeveloped country. Has been, still is. Um, Even now with the healthcare expansions, especially because some states opted out of parts of it, people die due to lack of healthcare in the U.S., which is ridiculous and should never happen in a first world country. Um, I don't know. It's sliding fascist now, so I'm trying to get out. Hopefully, go to Sweden, but it's hard to move if you don't have any way to support yourself. So I'm trying to get this channel to where I can monetize it because I'm too sick to work normal jobs. But I often do one video in a day, like an hour and 15 minutes, and I'm exhausted and can't do anything more the rest of the day. That's how bad my long COVID can be. On a better day, I might manage 4 or 5 hours of recording. But if I was working a job, especially because I'd be able to work very limited hours, I'd still have to stay with family, I'd be stuck in suburbia, so it'd be a long commute. Commutes really exhaust me. I've had to make it doctor's appointments, so it would take so much of my energy that if I commuted to and from a job, that would probably reduce the number of hours of energy to work to like 1 or 2 at most, which nobody's going to hire you if you can only work 1 or 2 hours a day and only maybe 3 days a week where you have enough energy. That's not what's considered substantial gainful employment by the government. It's so I'm disabled, and this is my best chance because at least I can do it from home. I don't have the skills to do any other kind of work from home, really. Certainly nothing that would pay into payroll taxes and not get me screwed out of Social Security disability. But I'm trying to get out of the country. I'm trying to. Sweden is particularly welcoming to disabled people, apparently. So is Spain. But Spain's riskier because their politics are also at risk of sliding fascist. The far right is better in check than the United States, but there have been some seriously concerning like neo-Nazi rallies in Spain, basically. Not neo-Nazi, but more in the line of the synarchist tradition, like Spanish Directory, Spanish Civil War, that kind of resurgent phalangism and stuff. Yeah, there's been fascist rallies in Spain and stuff. It's been scary. And yet they have less popular support than the US, where there's like far right militias up in New Hampshire, like literal neo Nazi. There's one called NSC something. You can look it up if you don't believe me. And they terrorize a lot of the Northeast. And there's ones in like the Midwest. There's like ones near Milwaukee, Minneapolis. There's multiple neo Nazi cells in the United States that commit hate crimes. And yeah, anyways, let me pause. Let's go. But yeah, I get Panama military access, they'll like me more, and then maybe be more could buy like steel from me if they do buy it. Currently importing steel from me already. Well, the more I could continue doing that and not choose to buy from someone else. And Argentina was actually one to give me military access. Then I'll also offer it to keep relations high and even do a non-aggression pact. Huh. Couldn't create a faction with them, even though they're Democratic path. But I'll negotiate licenses, offer military access. I can wait a little on that nap. But better relations probably means more trade. And if I can lock in positive relations with all these agreements, then maybe they'll be less likely to cancel market access to Anglo-Communists and these other agreements. It's a hope. Anyways, I won't be doing that for a long time. Game calls communist, but it's democratic socialist. It's not all Marxist ideologies are the same. It's in the game communism with elections, but you know, keeping opposition parties illegal. Speaking of banning opposition parties, there is a decision to do in the game, and it might actually be worthwhile for me to do, not as the US. I won't do it in this run, but if it might actually be worthwhile to do. I was thinking about when, if you're doing Mexico as a non-aligned run, or even communist, because they get anyone who gets a spirit that ticks support for an ideology, they're not going to be the ruling party. So the Germany, if you're going to go communist, you probably ban democracy while you're still fascist. Mexico, you'd ban it while you're still non-aligned, authoritarian regime. And then, well, there's no way to actually undo it, so whatever. Consider that the party was PLC in Mexico, for instance, was severely weakened by that, and that allow you to do women's suffrage, but still have high communist support. I think it's silly. If you're communist, you should get communist support from women's suffrage, because communists would have gladly given it to women, the vote. I mean, I guess in the Latin American world there was some concern of women being more sympathetic to the Catholic Church, but socialist theory does not back that kind of thought, and I'm sure they could have gone over it. Those views should be an option to do it. I mean, just like France can give women the vote on their communist path. There it's the capitalist party that doesn't want to do it, though. which is historically accurate. The capitalist left-wing party did not want to give women the vote because they were worried they'd vote right-wing. The communists were more open to the idea, promised not to do it when they formed a coalition with the capitalists and the Popular Front, but they wanted to do it. So maybe I'm projecting from having done a couple of French communist runs and studied a little of the history there. Things are a little different in France than the Latin Spanish-speaking world. Oof, that's a lot of Confederate divisions. That is a lot of divisions. I don't even have air support. It does stop divisions from going here, though, to reinforce this battle. Let's tell me that's me 27 days. Their volunteer mounted rifles still don't have the multi-combat penalty they should have. I need to project air power into the Gulf Coast eventually here. Mississippi Air Base will help, but I don't have a very strong air force. I sold off a lot of the bombers so I could build my industry up. Snowball it more. Yeah, I should mention, I redid Navy stuff, as I was saying. I put a lot of ships on strike force, convoy escort too. Convoy escort obviously protect convoys. Probably more stars than I need for that. I could actually put some on strike force and they'd be just as available. You know what? I'm gonna do that. This is too many. Do I want to give them to Nimitz or not is the question. Nimitz has higher coordination. Deep water expert, which may be some necessity of actually strike forces out here. I could be wrong. I'm not doing them there. Let's see. Oh, they don't have the range for there, which He's got more skill in positioning, but I think when he comes in with strike force, I don't think any of these traits matter anyways. Yeah. Put him on strike force. Save some fuel. Since surprisingly I don't have enough fuel gain. But yeah, I moving some of the battleships and carriers out here to to the western seaboard. It will be useful when Mexico eventually attacks me. I can have floating air bases parked right off their coast, and I sent the faster carriers, which actually have less HP relative to their manpower, so if they get hit, they lose more men. But they're a little, and they're not that much harder, they're not that much faster. The Lexington classes I'm keeping here. I actually pull them into port until their fighters are fully trained. That's right. Well, they're carrier casts and carrier nav. But yeah, for XP and some of the battleships too. Battleships are easy to hit, and you lose men whenever a ship gets hit. So evasiveness will losing less manpower when I have clear overwhelming force. Plus, I think battleships are particularly efficient for producing naval XP relative to their combat effectiveness. So, yeah. So redeployed some of my ships basically, and I just thought I should mention that. Still not even defending Dallas. I could grab it. It's a supply hub. Deny the Confederates that supply. It's hot, so it'd suffer a little bit of attrition on the way in. I don't know that they won't try and rush a division. I'm not seeing any real efforts to push here. I don't need this defense in depth. I'm not even sure it was ever a good idea to these guys, very weak, very defensive divisions. Oof. Defense 7.6. Except for crits even. Alright, the 34th. I'll put them in Albuquerque. No. Best used to defend mountains. They're not going to be even marginally useful for all time. Put them there. But anyways, this guy is probably switch it to a different general soon. Keeping him at 24, he can get skilled staff or experience though. Or, yeah, when he fights anyhow. Good friend though. These three. It's in there. Just trying to do this. Gonna break this into two fronts so that it doesn't try and force me to Redistribute divisions. I don't want to. Yeah, probably grab Dallas and if I don't see one pop up. Some of these forests in Texas, eastern Texas. Grab land while I can. Well, it's free. Anyways. This music's excessively loud. I have the volume a little high. There we go. So having these guys do that was kind of dumb. Something to be said for we're going through there. Cut off enemy retreat for what it's worth and supply, but also maybe even weaken these guys. There's no way these guys make it to Birmingham, but it's train to take. They need planning before it even begin, though. Oh, this is a day from done. Cool. Only reason I didn't cancel is so the overflow would go into something. Although that's ridiculously little overflow. 1 of 6,000. Oh yeah. I don't want to do too many dockyards and repairs because, oh shoot. 8. Should maybe that because I was on. You know what, I'll leave it at 6. It was at 6 before, wasn't it? Then it was 5, I think, but on 6 is alright. Because when I start torpedo cruisers, that's gonna take more steel per dockyard. Of course, I need enough Navy XP. If the Civil War had come 4 days later, wouldn't be having to mess with this. I would have had the rate of XP I was getting before. In mere 4 days, I would have had enough to have 5 now. But it didn't happen that way. Yeah, I drew lines here. Decided I'm not going to build a rail connection here because instead I'm just going to grab these mounds and the rails in them. It's also good defensive terrain. I might lose some men, but probably not that much. I've lost surprisingly few in this war, so it's not worth the industry, which probably costs me a lot more men when I'm fighting a stronger foe like the Nazis. If I have, you know, less military equipment someday or a smaller fleet, more likely against the British Navy. guess that's the more proximate problem. Oh, why are they marching slow way? Strategic redeploy, dummies. These guys are slowly losing. And these ones not so slowly. Should consider sending the engineers here to Dallas. These two divisions fight surprisingly well. Let's try to retake it. They have some of the highest defense. I think these guys are so under-equipped that, yeah. Here's what I do. Boom. Boom. Dallas. This guys will be accompanied by these guys. Also, crossing. You know what? No. Just be more people suffering attrition. Strategic redeployment elsewhere, or I'm actually going to try and do all the grab all this ground while it's undefended. I think that this would be a better task for Mark Clark than Fredendall, though. I'm surprised they attacked there. It's got more skill. Plans faster. I should keep Frendall purely where I want division to dig in really deep. I'm actually moving around. Let's send these guys some reinforcements, I guess. Maybe I wait till the other division's a little closer here. Reorganize a little more too. Enemies are suffering a fairly massive air superiority debuff. Did it just go down? Oh, rain. Hmm. Hmm. These guys are still held up by this one Confederate division that's just attacking them. Oh well. So I have just enough time to get this Montana thing done with the extra infrastructure. These guys are taking their sweet time reinforcing. Oh, bridge battle. Bloody A. 10th Infantry can't reinforce in. I see. So they're just wasting their time and not reorganizing by doing this. have him help with this battle. Though, what are they doing? They can't reinforce in. What the AI? They're still doing support attacks this way. Ah! Stop. They're gonna insist on doing such nonsense. These guys who have better planning. These who don't. Better idea. Oops. Nope. Go here. And help attack across the river. I think there's a river branch here. Yeah, there's a small one. Bada bing, bada boom. Tushi. What? Gotta save the repair stuff for later. Tomorrow I want to increase it to 8. So I'm starting that next destroyer. Oh. happened here? Just finished the battle. Probably realized what was going on. Three large engineer division for defense. Some auxiliaries here. Let's see what the game does with them. I'll say this though. Probably more useful taking Birmingham than Singer doing Zilch. There we go. Maybe I can avoid doing the Ralph Talbot. Entirely, and just go into a torpedo cruiser. I don't know if there's any production already on it, but when I swap it to a different design, it'll tell me, I think, if there was some days of production I'd lose. This idea, anyhow. I'd like to take that mountain, but maybe we'll take this. Attack 3-1. These guys are withdrawing across the river. Ah, Dallas is mine. To march through the mud for it, but it was a big enough victory point to gain a medal, even though it wasn't the enemy capital. Calls it the Siege of Dallas. Wasn't really much resistance. Hmm. These guys will dig in. Or advance and take all this to set up a defense line the river soon. These guys, I guess. Use to shorten the line. Hmm. Took a number of losses in that battle so far. In fact, most of the ones have taken now. And they're now suffering crits. Let's battle lost. 816 casualties. Yeah, that's almost everyone I've lost. I've lost in this battle. Of course, that'll mean this one gets worse. They've done enough buying time. And this is Spaghetti Nest. There we go. After I take this and this, I suppose I can have MacArthur cancel so aggressive attacks and these two. And reinitiate and just let them automatically handle the remaining hits. Clark is in charge of this battle. What? Shouldn't it be MacArthur? I guess this is the wider division. It's Clark in charge instead of MacArthur. Uh, eh. Could switch this to switch to a different general, but then it would stop this attack. Oh well. Put them both under Clark would be the idea. Actually, it wouldn't be the end of the world if these guys stop their attack. Do have guys, the Marines still attacking. We'll see. They're attacking? It does stop the enemy from trenching further. I'm just going to manually order a support attack. I want these guys moving here, like leaving where they are, but I do want them to help. So you control, click on the battle bubble, and you get this. They'll join the fight, but they won't leave their province when it's over. I knew there was something. Tomorrow I can have those guys. thinks his org is to advance. So my better equipped divisions, I'm just going to tell them to do anyways. Really? You know what? This gets you to wisen up. There's a lot of men to throw into this fight. High defense, low attack. Fake for holding position. Da, 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 da. Actually gonna have them go here. Hold this forest. Hmm. planning in case I need to pull them elsewhere. Right. Now it's past time new army. I'll hold the actual victory point there. Large division to hold San Diego. And who to assign? Ideally someone I wouldn't want to be using elsewhere. Yep. Maurice Rose. Strong possibility. But he is reckless. He'll probably get injured. Heck with it. If he gets injured, I can swap. Nah. Winter Jarrell. Better choice. A little defense skill. He's an infantry leader, so he'll eventually gain an infantry officer if there's fighting against Mexico. Cool. An hour and 5 minutes already? Wow. Sorry, as I know, I didn't realize I was playing that slowly, but I'm getting really tired, I guess. What the heck? Cool. that's enough org. I need these guys to support this attack. What? No, I can wait. Can I? No, I can't wait. Not far from Atlanta here. Grab that and mess up the Confederates' production. I think there's a military factory in Georgia. Ah, Soviet Italian volunteers arrived. March these guys here. Scourge attacks. This guy's not have anything they're planned yet anymore. Call that off. It's too much track and heck. It's better to just dig in here for now, I think. Oh, these guys have got a lot of equipment. Compared to some of my divisions. Start planning. Operation Green Hawk. Oh, whatever. The AI is going to insist on doing that. We'll stop them. Let the generals do the thing. Peru and Ecuador have signed a white peace. Interesting. Ecuador took territory from Peru. Now have cores on it, so they won this war. Interesting. It's actually in some ways better if Ecuador doesn't win this, because Peru gets the fascist national spirits, which give them eventually extra manpower, and if you puppet them someday, different ideology, but they still get those national spirits. Whatever. Can't control it all, can't make things go the way you want. This also makes a stronger Ecuador, which makes it harder to just, you know, take them for a little foothold in the area. On the bright side, they do have market access to me, so someday that will mean I'm still democratic. Potentially more buyers for stuff I sell. More sales of rifles, more likely. Excuse me. It's better to produce your own stuff, though. But if they want to buy maybe captured equipment I obtained that I don't want to use, or if I sell off stuff while I continue to snowball for a while in peace after this war. Or if I just decide to take the limited intervention, send volunteers everywhere route instead of going to war. Try and contain the Nazis that way, or slow them down. Why is Kark winning this battle when he has whatever? Oh, he commands one of the divisions and some reinforcements at that. Kark will eventually get an infantry layer though, so it's not bad. Gosh, that's a lot of Confederate divisions. 9. Alright, I need these guys to get here to circle around behind these guys. Time is run out. Got enough time to gain planning to be useful later and organization useful now. These guys need to help. Day 15 hours, plenty of time to get in there and reinforce. Very slow battle in this forest. These very unorganized divisions should probably fall back or something. Shoot, maybe not. Alright, an hour and 24 minutes. Probably an 84-minute long video is enough. Guessing. Quite losing my focus anyhow. Actually, enjoying that. Encourage the AI to send more divisions that way. Alright. Well, I hope you folks enjoy the video. Take care of each other. Be kind to yourselves. May you always find a guiding star lead you home. Until next time, this is Northstar. Adieu, and best luck.